Hello, I will be doing my informative speech on early communication development. My nephew was diagnosed early on in life with autism. We knew something was wrong because he wasn't meeting certain communication milestones. He wasn't speaking by the age of 3, and he had very little social skills. We can increase the early identification of communication disorders by expanding the public's awareness of typical communication milestones. Communication begins at birth, but there is a period of time between the ages of 2 and 5 that is called the critical period. It's called the critical period because that is the point in time where the brain has enough plasticity to be able to learn your first language. There are 4 main types of development milestones. There are motor skills, cognition, socialization, and communication skills. All of these can be intertwined, and if there is a development disorder, more than likely it will show up in more than one category. I will be focusing on communication skills and communication milestones. Some typical milestones at the age of 2 include a 200 to 300 word vocabulary. He'll be able to use he'll be able to name most common everyday objects. He'll use short and complete sentences and use some pronouns such as I, me, and you, however not always correctly. At the age of 3, the child will have a 900 to 1,000 word vocabulary and be able to create 3 to 4 word sentences. He will play with sounds and words and be able to follow 2 step commands. By the time he is 4, he will have a 15 to 1600 word vocabulary. He'll ask many questions. He'll use increasingly more and more complex sentences. He'll be able to recount stories from the recent past and will be able to understand most questions about the immediate environment. By the age of 5, he will have increased his vocabulary up to 2,200 words. We'll discuss feelings and will be able to follow 3-step instructions. I should briefly mention that these milestones are guidelines. They are not set in stone. We aren't worried about the child who isn't quite there. We are definitely worried about the child who dramatically falls short. The tests used to determine these skills are based off of developmental norms. The list of disorders that can affect speech is a rather long list, but here are a few: autism, apraxia, dysarthria, mental retardation, and Down syndrome. Individuals and agencies who can identify early problems would include but not be limited to pediatricians, speech-language pathologists, Head Start programs, and early intervention agencies. However, the greatest line of defense in sounding the alarm is an educated parent. In conclusion, it is imperative that we identify problems at an early age. And most definitely you should try to identify the problem in the critical period before the age of 5. Communication skills continue to develop well into adulthood, but a good foundation is very important for later learning. People with speech problems often have problems reading as well, which can greatly impact school. My nephew's early identification resulted in greater success later in life, including employment and higher education. Awareness is the key to positive outcomes. Thank you.